Hey everyone, welcome back to another Science Sunday. This week we're still in our topic of Psalm 119, learning about God's Word and how it helps us. This week we're going to learn how God's Word is everlasting, it's forever. And we're in this view of our um, Kerbal Space Program again to kind of show that He's created the world in a way that kind of helps us to understand what forever really means. But before we get into this stuff, let's actually take a look at what the verse is that we're going to be studying this week. Lord, your word is everlasting. It continues forever in heaven. Your loyalty will continue from now on. You made the earth, and it still stands. All things continue to this day because of your laws. All things serve you. So, the psalmist here is basically praising God for his word, for um, his revelation to us, giving us his message, his story about how he wants to relate to us and how he wants us to live our lives in relationship to him. And the psalmist is making the declaration that God made the earth. It's still around, it's from the beginning. The heavens and the earth have been where God put them, and everything that we see around us was created and only works because God has His hand on it. And it talks about how the word is just like that. God's promise to us, his message to us about how we should live and who he is and how he wants to care and love for us, it'll never go away. It's always true. He's not going to change his mind. Um, and a lot of things in the world, a lot of things in this universe, show us an example of that everlastingness. It's hard to understand what it means to be everlasting, for something to be forever. And especially in our lives, things seem like they're around for a while, and yeah, our lives seem long, but we don't truly understand what it means for something to just go on endlessly. But there's a really easy example of that um, foreverness is just the way he's created the universe. We have this view right here where all you got to do is get outside of our little planet and you look up in the stars and you look at that and see that cloud right there. Those are billions and billions and billions of suns. And you just look out at the stars, and you look out at space, and you think, man, it just goes literally forever. And this just gives you an example of what God is like, what his word is like, what eternity is like, is that there's just no end. It's just so massive that you can't even comprehend it. So I wanted to show, we're looking here, we got this little guy who's just orbiting around the Earth, and I wanted to kind of show you that the way this works, and we kind of covered this when we looked at orbital dynamics, is that he will continue to orbit around the Earth forever. And we know that because, going back to Newton and his laws of motion, Newton's first law of motion says that an object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion stays in motion with the same speed and in the same direction unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. What he's saying there is that God made the universe so that if you take an object and you just throw it in space, it will never stop moving ever until it hits something else. And we see this, both with things that are orbiting around the Earth, but also the Earth itself and the moon. Now, all we have to do here to kind of see this is we're going to speed up the time scale here. So, you have the moon going around the Earth here. Now, let's just go a little faster. Okay, you can see the time here. We're going faster and faster. Okay, now it's about a minute every second, and we'll go a little faster than that. And you can see our satellites spinning around the Earth over and over and over. The moon is spinning around the Earth, and it just goes on and on and on, and it never ever ends. And then if we turn this and we take a look here, you can see that the Earth is spinning around the sun, The Earth is spinning around itself, its own axis, and it just keeps going forever. And we can actually zoom back out here, and you can see all the planets, and they're just moving around the sun, and there's nothing that's ever going to stop them from moving around the sun. They'll just keep going. So this is, this is exactly what the psalmist is talking about here. God set this all up. He put all of these things into motion. He created the rules for the universe, and he said, you know what? Just let it go. And this is the way it's going to work. And this is going to be an example, a symbol of my word, of my promises, of my commitment to everyone, um, to my creation, that he'll always be around. He's always a constant, and that there is an eternity. What we see on this earth right now in our lives is just the beginning, that there's an endless, vast expanse of forever that we still have yet to experience. And God's word and God himself has always been there. So there you go. So this one's a pretty um, simple example this week, but it's if you think about it deeply, it's awe-inspiring to think that God made all of this, um, and that it all works. It all just continues and goes for eternity, and that it shows us the view that God has. That God is not looking at just today. He's not looking at just our lifetime. He's looking at forever. And he's given us promises that last into that forever. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining this week for Science Sunday. Next week, I think we'll do a little bit of chemistry. But have a great week, and everybody stay safe. Hopefully, we'll see each other soon again. Bye.